woke up in the morning, had a dream of getting paid. I done made a couple moves, now I got money on the way. Yo, I did it for the hustle.
Sorry, 7:15. We're gonna try for like an hour or so. Because again, I need to pay somebody. I need to get money. So you guys need to listen.
Money in your head.
Be subscribing so there's money so I can have somebody pay people, employer.
Employee.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Oh. Ready?
What is this for and for what?
You ready? Alright. Hey guys!
All that energy.
Alright, you need to dig in.
All that energy.
Because you know when you
Should
start
it together. Hi guys.
I'm going hey. Why are you going hi?
Okay, sorry. Okay.
So hey.
Hey.
Okay.
Go. 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys! Welcome to the Big Brother podcast powered by Tickzon scheme, and now you have entered the Wealth of Knowledge Experience, episode 1. I am your big brother Ugo, aka Mr. Tickzon himself, and I am accompanied today by your big sister Mimi.
Hi guys.
Figuratively. Is figuratively right?
What do you mean figuratively?
Figuratively, right? Or is it literally?
I mean, I'm a big woman.
A big woman in the bank account.
Okay.
You see how you save it? You see how you save it?
Whatever.
People are going to come in from me like, you can't have big.
I mean, I'm not really big, like as in physically, but I'm big.
What are you even saying? Okay, so guys, welcome to the podcast. Video XYZ. This will be out on soon. Well, I mean, if you're watching it, it's out now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's gonna be on Spotify, YouTube, and I guess the other ones.
Yeah, SoundCloud, all of them things.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
So if you're not already subscribed, please. If you're watching on YouTube right now, please click the subscription button because we're trying to get to 1K by the end of the year.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, more. So share with your friends, share with your classmates, share with your colleagues, share with everybody that is shareable. Okay? Because we're out here trying to grow the ministry. Amen?
Massive ministry.
Amen. So let's get right into it. Okay?
Amen.
We're not singing. We're not singing.
Move. Tell yourself a little bit like that, so it's more conversational than for us to look in the camera, because we don't care about them. We care about you. I'm gonna edit that part out.
Alright, cool.
Alright. So today on the pod, to kick it off, what's it called? Just about a week ago. I turned 25. And
big man.
You know, obviously we've been out here doing Tickzon scheme for a minute now, and so coming towards my birthday, I was thinking there's a lot of things that I've learned in my life vicariously through people, by being an observer of life, by some lucky wisdom and all that kind of jazz.
From me. Give me my credit, I deserve it.
And some other stuff. And so I thought that I'd put together like a video on put together a video of things that if you wish you knew earlier. Things that if you knew earlier would make your life easier. So these are loads of different pieces of wisdom, knowledge, and stuff like that you may already realize, you may not fully understand the importance of it. And within this space of this episode, there's a lot to get through. So hence, I have book, I have notes, and if not everything gets covered, then in a future podcast episode, we will get through it. But ultimately, our aim is not only to turn hindsight into foresight, but simultaneously make your life better. Because we're taking your time right now, and if you're even going through this intro right now, God bless you. Hit the like.
Bless you.
You know. So, yes. And so, yeah, we're going to start it off with stuff that we wish that, well, essentially stuff that I feel like if you knew earlier would make your life easier.
Okay.
So, man's turned 25, quarter century.
You're old, man.
Fam, old. DMs.
Is that what you?
Yeah, ones, yeah. Like it's a bit peak because we're doing this now, and if I turn the airplane mode now, it seems
Pick
like
up the call.
no,
Why not? You can always.
nah. I'm gonna edit this part out. It's my mom. It's not. Yeah, I can't answer this call now because it's not really a 5 minute.
You know who I thought it was?
Who? Which madam?
Mm.
This whole series, this whole exchange is not. It's not even. Why would I? No. Say that. No. Come on. All right.
Oh. If you hear it, why did you decide to do this today? It be like that.
It'd be like that. It'll be fine. Listen, hey guys, this is progress over perfection. You see where we are now, we get better. You know, look at this. They call it even, everything's gonna get better. Just watch us rise, slowly but surely, surely but slowly.
What?
I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yes. Hopefully.
Yeah. It's okay to make mistakes, basically, no?
Yes, yes. And actually, you see, we can start around there. So essentially, we're going to be discussing. I've got my list, bouncing it off. She'll be adding where she feels needs to add. I'll be adding, and we see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So we can start where you spoke about in terms of it's okay to make mistakes.
It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm happy making mistakes.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Yeah. Yeah.
I like making mistakes. I thrive in mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, making mistakes. I say to people this: anything worth doing good is worth doing bad.
Okay.
So if you're gonna learn anything, 9 times out of 10, you are going to be gonna make mistakes along the way, and you just need to embrace that you're gonna make mistakes. There's a lot of pressure
to be perfect.
To not make
the first
mistakes.
time.
But like, think about it like this: if you're perfect from the beginning, then your only way is down. So if you start off perfect, your only way after is probably trash because it's like
you can't attain more.
You can't attain more. So
yeah,
just accept that you're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
And the big ones, you're gonna make big ones and small ones, and don't always try to avoid the mistakes because
grow from them.
That's how you're gonna learn.
Yeah, grow from your mistakes. See, that's how I say, like, mistakes are not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage mistakes.
Yeah.
Like,
so what you do when you make a mistake that will define you
is what matters, exactly. And then, if you have people that crucify you for making mistakes, I'm sorry, don't listen to them. I'm just saying. It's true.
Yeah. I mean, even to put on that about people who will crucify you. Now, I'm a big believer of like there's two things you need to care about: how you see yourself and how others see you. Now, how others see you matters to an extent because the reality of you to everybody else is how everyone sees you. Like you can, let's say, I know people who are very nice people, or like, okay, let's say, I know a girl, for example, who is probably the nicest person, amazing individual, will make an amazing wife, amazing mother, caring, whatnot, blah blah blah. But the outward perception of what she is hard, resting bitch, and aggressive, blah blah blah. And so if that's what everyone around you thinks you are, then that becomes your reality of what people think about you.
Yeah.
So it's like you do care about what people say to you, to what people think about you to an extent, but to the point of like it fully like impacting who you are. You want to limit the number of people that
has an opinion on your life.
Yeah. Like if you let too many people as opinion like shape your day, shape who you are. Now again, it's going to be a process. You have to take one step to get there. Obviously, initially, the first people is like your parents, your teachers, and whatnot. But you need to kind of like reduce the number of people who their opinions actually make a difference in your life. Yeah,
and again, it's not attainable. It's not sustainable to be perfect.
Yeah,
it's not. Because you know how
draining.
Yeah.
Fam, do you know what it is? When people look at you as perfect, it's stressful because most people and you can't make mistakes. And people who are being called perfect don't think they're perfect. So think about it like this: results day. Who was crying more? The person who got D, or
I was
you,
expecting the D.
or the pause, or the person who got A star and got an A.
Yeah.
I saw people like there's people who are still stressed to today.
To this
Got
day.
2 A stars, 1 A. They were like, I needed 3 A stars.
I needed 3
Still
A stars.
stressed.
Yeah.
Because when you expect it to be perfect, it's hard.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those students.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't so much expectations on myself, it was expectations of teachers on me. So like A star student, all of that. And I wanted to do well.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do well for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So that was like doing GCSE level. I said, I can't come and kill myself,
Yeah.
you know. I don't care. So A2, I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this for myself.
And see that
And
goes
I
back
did
to
it for myself.
and see that goes back to the first we were talking about making mistakes.
Yeah.
People who are like so like high achievers, let's say, or people who are whether that be in academically or even in character, like
Yeah.
the person who's praised as a good child
Yeah.
now feels that they have to maintain
They
that
have
as a
to
good
maintain
child,
it.
and so their barrier of mistakes that people around them let them like deep it like there's a bigger celebration for the bad kid doing
Bad
one
kid.
good thing
Yeah.
than it like the condemnation that you get for being a good kid
Good
who did
kid,
one
and
bad
then-
thing
yeah.
is so crazy. So
Yeah.
you need to limit the amount of people that have that amount of influence, but at the same time give yourself the allowance to make mistakes because you're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, it's human. It's human nature.
Mistakes is
You have
beautiful.
to grow.
Mistakes is beautiful.
Yeah.
And an extension to mistake is be ready to fail, man. Be ready to fail. Like obviously, like
Don't fail intentionally, though.
yeah, like again, don't fail like stupidly. Like apply wisdom and
If
direction.
you have your essay, you go and do it now.
Yeah. Don't fail like To be fair, all of us have done that midnight shift in the library,
Oh dear, no.
But like obviously, like you would hear me say, like for us here at Tickzon scheme, it's like okay, to fail is to forge an independent life. So if you haven't failed, then you're probably not really challenging yourself to a point where you will actually grow. Now look, you can go through people can go through life without failing.
Mm-hmm.
But typically those people are within their comfort zone. They've done everything that was easy,
Yeah.
or and somebody else was carrying the weight of what they need to do for them,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's why the thing was easy.
Yeah.
But if you haven't put yourself in a position to fail, then you haven't really put yourself in a real position to succeed
grow.
and to grow. Now again, depends the kind of life you're trying to have. But most times, again, if you're trying to make anything happen, then you need to be ready to fail at it. Because, boom, if you're not failing at it, you're just watching the thing continue moving.
Yeah. But don't rock the boat too much.
I mean, it depends.
I mean, he will overturn. He will turn it upside down.
See, look, the truth of the matter is sometimes, you just have to rock the boat, and this is especially within your interpersonal relationship.
Did you hear what I said? I said don't rock it too much.
Sometimes you need to overturn the boat. Sometimes you need
He is taken by force.
not
by
even.
violence.
Listen. It's almost like it's like the nuclear option or the military option is the last resort.
Yeah.
Like before that time, there was attempts.
Yeah.
There was like diplomacy.
No, but you go at it.
No, before then I was sending pigeons. I'll do the letters. I'll do cordial diplomacy. Now, because the truth of the matter is sometimes what you find is like, again, within your life, you have some control in terms of your life, and so when things are going bad or things are not going the way you wanted to go to, most times people put themselves as a victim.
Okay.
And being a victim, the truth of the matter is, if you deep it, one thing everyone should realize that everybody has problems. I don't care who you are, rich, poor, small, big, everybody's got problems. And so to some extent, if you actually look at your life to some extent, most people have been a victim in some aspect of their life for some reason. In fact, some people are simultaneously a victim and a perpetrator. Like you can see people in a relationship and it's like both the guy and the girl is the victim in this situation, but they're both perpetrators in this situation.
Yeah.
But the issue about being a victim is it's comfortable.
Okay. In what sense?
In the sense of being a victim is a very comfortable place because it abdicates you or just it removes the responsibility of yourself of changing your situation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you find people in a situation where like they're being victimized and whatnot, and it's like because they feel like a victim, they simultaneously don't realize that they have the power to change their situation. They're now hoping and expecting and praying for the person that is the person who's actually doing it onto them to now give them the freedom or to save them or stuff like that, when it's kind of like, no, like
you have to rock the boat.
You have to rock the boat, because you have to be the one to change the dynamic. It's almost like, you know, historically, I would say no one could really show me a point in time where an oppressor has willingly let the oppressed go, or willingly relinquish power over the oppressed, unless it wasn't politically or economically viable to do that. So unless that there was pressure, or money was being lost, or it was unsustainable, or they were just moving in a new direction, it was never like out in the goodness of their heart. Like, you know, they can spin it like that. So at times when
your interest, everyone wants to maintain their interest in it.
Yeah.
So if something is a benefit to you, why would you want to change it?
Yeah. So sometimes you actually need to rock the boat, because rocking the boat is the only way you're going to change the circumstances of your situation. If not, it's going to stay the same.
Sure.
You know, so if you're in a situation where you don't like the way things are going, you know, cool, acknowledge you're a victim. After acknowledging it, my question is, what are you going to do about it? Because you do have some control within your life, and you always have a choice. You always have a choice, like, and obviously the choices you have might not be the nicest choices you want, but again, I kind of say like this: if I have a couple of options and I don't like the options I have, I haven't thought hard enough. I now need to go back, think about it, and see, okay, what more options?
How many options can one possibly have?
It depends on the situation. In a scenario, you can always have more options. It depends. The limitations of what your options are, most times, the limitations of what you're willing to do.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
So that's the thing. Most people's options are limited to what they limit themselves to what they want to do, and also, like, you know, whenever you feel like you don't have a choice, you always do. And one of my frustrations, low key, which is something that I see people do a lot, and we've all done at some point in our times of life, is willingly give away our power to make an impact in our life. Like, willingly give away.
You tell me that all the time.
Yeah, like, people willingly give away their power to make a change in their life, and they stay in the victim. And so and when you're a victim, it's very comfortable to be a victim. Like, you know, all my days,
because it's not your responsibility.
It's not your responsibility. It's like, and true, it may be your card may be harder for you, but it's not impossible to change your situation. So again, you can rock in the boat. I'm very okay with rocking the boat.
You're okay with overturning the boat.
Yes, because sometimes you just need to qualash out the whole thing. Sometimes you need to scatter the thing. No, because you deep it, like, okay, I say it like this, like, you know how, like, you build foundations of certain things. Yeah. Okay, there's a reason why in society sometimes you need to do an amendment to the constitution, because the foundation is different. So if you want to change the whole thing, you need to change it from the foundation. So, for example, now, most people don't realize that the way they date is more times the way they're going to be when they're married. So when your relationship is like, if your relationship starts in a certain dynamic, let's say, you know, me and somebody was there, I was paying for everything. Every day I was paying for everything. It's been 2 years paying for everything. Married a person, another 2 years paying for everything. One day I'm like, oh,
you need to start paying.
You need to start paying.
And she's like, what?
Like, it's like, what you on, bro? Consistency. Like, you know, that's my man.
Don't change on me now.
But, you know, but it's like, okay, if it's a situation in which, now let's take away from that. Let's say it's a situation in which, like on a friendship or something like that, you're always the one giving, you're the one always doing, and you typically don't even request, and the other person doesn't really go out their way to do stuff for you. You see people in those situations normally build resentment and stuff like that, and they will never go and ask. Even if they do ask, most times the person will be like, I'll think about it, even though you might not do that and say think about it. But then the thing is, the dynamic of the relationship has already been built to that way. And so,
unfortunately,
so it's hard for you to change that whole situation because
then you become the selfish one.
Yeah, but then that's the reason why sometimes you need to, like,
cut it from the beginning.
Just refresh the whole thing. Like, listen, fam, look, like, this ain't gonna work for me, and like, we need to reevaluate the way we're going. And so,
why did you talk like that?
I don't know, we need to reevaluate the way we're going. And so, that's the reason why you see people, it's hard to draw lines, hard to kind of, like, you know, when you try to create new boundaries. The truth of the matter is, when you go to create a boundary, like I would say this, if you create a boundary, it's actually your responsibility to uphold your boundaries. It's nobody's. It's like if I have boundaries, it's my responsibility to uphold those boundaries. It's nobody else's responsibility. But what I've seen and what is kind of true for life is that whenever you set up boundaries, the people around you, the people that you specifically that you set the boundaries for, will test them
on purpose.
But to be honest, sometimes on purpose, sometimes subconsciously. You know, it's like you know, whether it's girl, guy, or whatever, it'd be like I don't like when a girl does this, and then she you know, there's various other ones cool, but some of them will be like, does he really not like it? Let's go find out. Let's go find out. Yeah. Yeah, you like, I'll be like, don't touch my game. Like, yeah, sure, okay, what will happen when I touch the game? Let's see what happens there. Let's see what happens there. So it's like, you know, the boundaries thing is definitely something that when you come into it, you have to uphold it for yourself.
I agree.
Yeah. Have you found it hard to uphold your boundaries?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
Oh God. Without saying too much, but I feel I've kind of set myself up not to care.
Okay.
So like even if I do have boundaries, but I'm so forgiving that even if it happens, I'm just like, again, it's like allowance to make mistakes. Then I'm just like, you know, he's just been dumb. Like I just allow it, but over time you realize like you get tired, and which is why for me, like if someone keep doing the same thing over and over again, I just lose interest. I just don't care anymore. So it's not so much like, yes, I don't uphold my boundaries, but I will give you chances a lot of time to kind of like make amends, and if you're done, then I'm just like, you know what, it's okay. When you're
giving those chances, do you just give them chances without telling them, or do you communicate?
I say, I'm like, listen, I don't like what you're doing. I told you I don't like it, and you keep doing it again.
You're still doing it?
Are you still doing it? You need to fix up.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do it again. I'm just like, maybe 1, 2 times. Like, you know what? It's actually okay.
Yeah.
It's actually okay now.
You know.
So.
With saying that, you know what, I'm gonna go into the next one that I wrote. Well, the thing is, again, you're gonna be hearing these ones. We're gonna be popping up. Take what you take from it.
Yeah.
But you reminded me. One of the ones that's on here is, and if you learn this early, this makes your life so much easier. But learn to speak up.
Yeah, yes and no.
Yes, and the next one is know when to shut up.
I say yes and no.
Yeah.
Like, example with friends.
Yeah.
And I give an example with family.
Okay.
So example with friends, I feel like because your dynamic with your friends is by choice, so you have to speak up. Like, does that make sense? Like, you decided to be in this friendship circle, so why then are you discomforting? Is that even a word?
We can make it a word. Discomforting is a word.
This, you know, why would you discomfort yourself? Because you have, like, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
I have chosen to be your friend. Don't disrespect me. Or if to say, like, example of speaking up now is, should I give an example of what you did? This guy, he threw something, not at me, he threw something, yeah? And then you just like, don't do that. Why you shaking?
I didn't know where this is going. So I threw something.
So you threw something.
Yeah.
Somewhere. That is not necessarily sensible to do.
Okay.
And then I could easily be like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm like, don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. But in a family dynamic, imagine if it was your dad that did that, and you know, like, he's a very like authoritarian person. You wouldn't really like. You would say that like, don't do that. But the manner in which you say it, other time, like, it's not all the time that they make mistakes or do things that you actually point out. So with your friends, I would 100% advocate to always not point out their mistakes or their wrongs, but speak up something that doesn't benefit you.
Yeah.
But with family, it's a bit.
You know, it is. It's techie because because obviously me, I'm saying like, okay, be able to speak up, and I mean that just in general, because a lot of people, they don't speak up, but they're speaking up very loudly in their own head.
Yeah.
So the person who needs to hear what they need to say is not hearing it. So especially whether that is in whether that's and they normally sometimes can carry that into work, carry that into charities, carry that into volunteering, carry that into their friendship groups, and they absorb a lot because they don't speak up for themselves. And the problem about not speaking up for yourself, similar to what you're saying, is that if you don't speak up for yourself at all, the few times you probably get negative responses, because if you're not someone who's used to it, you're 9 times out of 10 probably not.
Is that why you're acting up?
Yeah, you're not saying it even correctly. You're probably going to do outburstings.
Yeah.
But again, on the flip side, some people just need to know when to shut up. It's not everything that, I'm not gonna lie, it's not everything that you feel or you think that should be communicated, because it's like you need to apply wisdom into what you're doing and who you're talking to. So acknowledging family dynamics is one of those ones. But again, in even within your family dynamics, again, there's a lot of family dynamics that are just, I'll call spades a spade. There's some family dynamics that are inherently toxic and abusive in a way that, again, somebody's so authoritarian, which comes, and there's benefits of being authoritarian to some extent in a safety point of view, about your kids are always there, but then there's a way that can build resentment, all these kind of toxic situations. And so in those situations, it is important for you to try to communicate. Stretch the word try. Stretch the word try. But then again, when you're navigating these things, I think we've written down this somewhere. It's how you communicate something is more important than what you're communicating.
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost like, okay, I can tell you sorry, and it'll be like, okay, hey Miriam, like I'm really sorry for everything. I think it's better. Hey Miriam, I'm really sorry for hurting you.
Like, it's okay, man.
Like, it's okay, man. I said sorry.
Yeah.
I said sorry, innit? And so how you say things is more important than what you're saying. So when you're communicating, especially within dynamics that are set. So previously we said the issue about when you become a victim in these scenarios, because dynamics have already been set. Similarly, within family situations, dynamics could already be set, which play out as they play out. Everyone's accepted their role. And those who don't necessarily feel like victims in that are very perfectly okay with the service that they've been receiving. Yeah. They're very okay with their service plan. They don't give a heck.
It doesn't bother them.
It doesn't bother them, and it's like,
why should I change it?
Why should they change that? So in those situations, and I feel like in another future episode, we're gonna probably go more. We need
to talk about family dynamics.
Yeah, we'll go more deeper into that in the future, because there's ways to actually navigate that better. Because some people are Meg from Family Guy. Some people are just at home. You may be and the thing is, everybody's going through something, but some people are going through stuff more than other people. So
even in the same household.
Even in the same household, and so family is a techie one, because it informs a lot of our lives and a lot of what it is. But still, within those things, when you come to establish new boundaries, don't expect anybody to listen to your boundaries the first time. Especially the first time you set up your boundaries, no one's listening to you. It's either they avoid you completely, or they don't listen to you. Like, tell your mom, knock on the door, please. But yeah, you talk to her anyhow. They'll be like, yes, I don't know what we've lost or we haven't lost, but we'll make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're talking at home, if you tell her, I forgot what I was saying.
So if you're trying to create boundaries from in the family dynamic, and then initially nobody will listen to you.
Yeah. Especially the first few times you try to establish your boundaries, they will test it, and they have no reasons to fully change it.
Yeah, and it doesn't benefit. Everything is about interest, right? Yeah. So, the knocking on the door thing. So, a parent will want to barge in because it's like, okay, let me not be so negative, but it's about the control thing, and it's also about I have access to you anytime I want, when I want. Yeah. But for you as an individual, it's like, respect my space. Yeah. And you want them to respect your space. But because it does not benefit their interest, because they want to be what do they call it? Helicopter parent, is that what it is?
Oh yeah, helicopter parents, yeah.
Yeah, so they want to be helicopter parents. They want to always know what you're doing, when you're doing it, and So because it doesn't benefit their interest, they won't listen to you. Yeah. At least for the first few times. So it's now up to you to decide how you're going to communicate that, because again, like Ugo said, it's not what you're communicating, it's how you're communicating it. Yeah. So you can't come and say, don't enter here, man, don't do that. Hello.
Calm down.
Hello, man.
Chill.
Hello, man.
Cool down. But and to even add to that, again, if we're going into the parent dynamic one, we have to be a whole video on its own, or a whole pod on its own. But again, one thing you have to recognize within that is that, firstly, if your parents haven't been giving you independence from early, understand parents in general are probably the trashiest people to necessarily give you your independence. You typically will have to take it yourself, or do subtle things for them to even trust you to not fight you when you're trying to take your independence back. So if you look at some parents, it's like, you know about empty nesters, they're about to lose all their kids. You see a lot of the parents that, you know, their kid really left and went to uni for 4 years, 3 years, really lived on their own, but they came back from uni and they're still treating them the way they left them. And it's because when parents get to that point, they still look at the dynamic as you as a child. You know, they selectively choose when you're an adult. When it comes to like contributing money, bills, all that kind of thing, now you're adult. And then, or if they want to talk to you about marriage, then now you're an adult. But when it comes to something that benefits you, it's like you're a child now.
You're a child.
And so you have to understand that you're the one that's going to have to gain your independence back slowly but surely by yourself to some extent, because you have to put them in positions to understand, one, you don't have to worry about me. Two, when parents feel like their kids are growing up and they're losing their kids, they've had 20 years of this dynamic. It's very hard for them to let go. So for example, you see classic story, girl, you know, African community, girl, she's come back from uni, blah blah blah, and now her dad is like, you know, from out of nowhere starts being like, you need to be home by this time, you need to be doing this, start chucking new rules into the frame, all these kind of things. And it's just so that because they're now losing control, because it's like, rah, this person has their own ideas, they don't feel like they need to listen to me on this kind of thing.
It's like throwing tantrums.
It's like tantrums, and then they start doing,
you're not a child,
you know, and then they start doing like little things, and it's not even like they're complaining about little things. To you it's a little thing, but to them it's big things. It's like, you know, oh, so you didn't tell me you were going out before you went out.
Yeah.
Little things like that, because they want to know, they still want the kind of control dynamic that they had before. Oh, my days, wait, so I told you to be back at 8 o'clock, you're not back. And it goes with little things and little decisions like that. But you have to understand, it's up to you to kind of change that dynamic. The ones who are really good is that when parents who gave their kids independence from early, but not as a virtue of necessity, but just gave them independence from early. Because when I say virtue of necessity, there's some of them that gave them independence when they were early, purely because they were working, and you had to have the independence. But they didn't necessarily look at it as I was giving independence. It was just as virtue.
I wasn't here.
I wasn't here, so you have to do it.
Yeah.
So when you come to this dynamics about, you know, understand that they're not going to give the control away easily.
Question. So when you said like you have to kind of take it by force, what do you recommend? Like, we're still talking about in the family dynamic.
Okay, alright, cool. Okay, so
okay, choose another
let me answer your question first, and then we'll move on. Okay?
Wait, let me see comfortable. Oh god.
Wait, we're supposed to be facing each other. It's a conversation. So,
wait.
how do I recommend people go about getting their independence back?
Yeah.
Well, I think you need to start small. I'm not gonna lie, because I recognized very early, like I was independent very young as a kid.
Yeah.
But then obviously there's aspects of your life that you're not very independent in. And so I started slowly taking it back. And I'm not gonna lie,
you're speaking very
in tongues.
Yeah.
I know.
So how? Give me direct example. So I'm coming to you.
Okay.
As a big brother. So you've gone out to uni. You're back. So I see you now, coming back at 1 a.m. sometimes, and then but I'm still fighting to stay after school club to play basketball. So, Ugo, big brother, how do I approach mom to make her understand that I can be out till 5?
So it's easier for me to navigate.
It's easier said than done.
No, not even easier said than done. It's easier for me to navigate somebody through this kind of scenario if I have like a more realistic example, like I've done with friends and stuff like that, help them navigate that. But I think like with some of them, it's like the reverse way. part of the way for you to change that boundary is that you have to push that boundary.
How?
So because you're okay. So example,
Why?
I can remember stuff that I did, but like it wasn't malicious, but it sounds a little bit mad.
You were moving mad, didn't it?
I wasn't moving mad, but it's more like, like you slowly get used to me not doing exactly what you wanted me to do. So for example, I'll be back at 5. I'll be back at 5:15. Be back at 5. Be back at 5:30.
Question.
Go for it.
Somebody that doesn't like to be shouted at, because in the first few times, I'm guessing, she was like, if you don't come, I'm not gonna open the door for you. Da, 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 da.
But you get used to it. Oh, you don't get twisted. You're changing your dynamics. It's not gonna be easy. The only way it works, in those scenarios, let's say, if you're in a situation where you got both parents at home, and let's say you have the unreasonable one, have the reasonable one. Everyone has the one they typically go to who can do that. So that's the easiest route.
Yeah.
You go and explain it to your auntie, your uncle, your mom, or your dad, who's easier for you to communicate it. And so when you're changing those boundaries, that's about you gathering allies. So you need to go allies to, not literally, you look at it, but it's all like it's an art of warting. You need to gain allies who are going to come and help you win that battle. So whether that's a friend or something like that, and some people don't even recognize the people that could be allies. So to in order to communicate them, because sometimes you have to understand, like for our parents, like you could say something and you understand it, but like for me, I understand why they think it's this, and you can understand why you think it's that, but you haven't both understood the other person's point of view, and so because you don't both understand the point of view, you're not able to communicate that. So for example, the mom now would be like, in her point of view, it's like, you need to be home on time, so I know where you are. It's a safety point of view. I'm scared in these streets. When I see the news, it's mad. But for you, it's like, I'm safe, man. It's all that kind of thing. And so for you, the best way might be to go to uncle, mom's brother, who may be able to communicate to her, like, listen, madam, it's gonna be okay. Like, it's just going after school club. This person needs these experiences to better their life and shaping their thing. So if you're going to have the conversation, you have to treat it like a negotiation.
Right.
You have to understand that when you come in there, you have to make a point of why this benefits you. So for example, the after school club thing, you have to come for like, listen, mom, I understand, and you have to sympathize with their point of view. From it's a
game.
It's a game.
That you have to.
You have to sympathize with their point of view and be, listen, mom, I understand. I know you love me, and I know you do all these reasons because you love me, even though in the back of my mind I'm not really feeling the love from this thing. But I understand that you love me and all those kind of things. But this is an experience that I really want to have, and it's something that will help better shape my life and help me navigate the world in the future better than it is now. So I understand that you're trying to do all these things to keep me safe, but I am going to be in this world at some point. So we need to start kind of doing early to kind of start, doing 1 hour, and you need to be ready to negotiate, and you need to be ready to not get everything you wanted in that person.
If a child told me that, I rate it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be like, you thought about it.
Yeah.
And he's just like, okay, you know what? I trust you enough to go, but don't disappoint yourself and don't disappoint me. So if a child did that, like, I would fully rate that.
That's the thing, because you have to communicate it in a way that makes it like, you see, because people just say things.
Yeah.
And feelings are nice, but communicating through your feelings in certain scenarios does not help. Like there's moments where it's actually better for you to communicate through your feelings than it is to communicate like in a logical negotiation. But in the point of like you're trying to establish boundaries or change the boundaries, you need to come to a point where now you need to let because you have
on the same level.
Yeah, you need to realize that you need to look at your parents and or your mom and now make her feel like, Rati, my kid's growing up.
Yeah.
My kid's really growing.
Yeah.
And so that's
but some people are not reasonable. We're talking about parents that are reasonable.
Yeah, but if the parent's not reasonable,
then do what we're good.
The opposite way you have to kind of go, depending on what it is and depending on how important it is for you. Just to add on the previous point, you need to be ready to not get what you want. Let's say you start at 5, but let's say you want 10 o'clock. You need to be ready to be settled at 7 o'clock. Yeah, and you need to live to fight another day.
Yeah.
Know when you win the battle, and in the long run you can win the war. And also when you're making demands as well, make them a little bit unrealistic.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're dealing with somebody who's very, very reasonable, cool. Let it be very realistic.
Yeah.
Say I only really want 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
But if you're dealing with someone who's just reasonable, hit them with 9 o'clock. Hit them with like, because because you're gonna test their appetite for them to let go. Because it's a simultaneously of you getting control, but them letting go of control, which is hard for parents. And so
Which
it's
I don't understand. Honestly, I'm not a parent.
Yeah.
But it's just like when
give it like this, something that you held like this, and you've been out here fighting the world for and suffering for. It's not telling you shut up. They're perplexed.
No, I hear that, but it's just like, obviously there's different scenarios. Like my parent, is a case of do what you want as long as I'm not home before you. Do you see what I'm saying? So we time ourselves. You have, if you know like dad is gonna be home at 7:30, be home at 7:25. You know, even before he parks his car, as soon as you enter the kitchen, you're dead. I'm not dead literally, but so. But my mom, she's more reasonable. So you can tell mom, I'm going here. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm gonna come back. She'll tell you, I'm not happy with you, but okay, you know what? Like, how can I help you? Come back on time. So she doesn't have a problem with you kind of not staying out late, but she doesn't have a problem with you going out. As long as she knows where you are and with who you're. My dad doesn't want to know.
But that's the thing though. Like, again, he has those boundaries here. And again, in those dynamics, maybe the first point of call is talk to mom to see what to mom to talk to dad. But again, at some point, there's this one that I was going to say later on in the pod, but I'll say it now. Forgiveness is easier than permission.
Yeah.
I remember somebody saying that to me at work.
Yeah.
And even in life, it's actually generally the thing. Yeah. So for example, when you're pushing these boundaries, yeah, sure, your dad will be angry. Oh, you came back at 8 o'clock. But eventually he'll forgive you. And it's easier for you to get his forgiveness in that point in call than asking him, your dad, can I go be out till 8 o'clock? And he's like, no, I'm coming back, you can't. So you go preemptively. There's something I used to do to my brother. If he apparently watches this, he will know, but this was years ago. But this is what I'll do. I would take his shoe when we were young. Yeah. He'll be out. I'll take his shoe. I'll still be at home, but I'll call him and be like, yo, Eze, yo fam, like I've left with your shoe, fam. I just want to let you know. And he'll be like, oh, what do you mean you've taken my shoe? Yeah, nah, fam. Like I was going around, I couldn't find my shoe, and yeah, I've taken your shoe. Like, what the hell, man? Just make sure you don't get dirty. Like, okay, and then I now cut the phone and then I'll wear the shoe.
You've got your permission.
I got it backwards.
Yeah.
But if I asked him, yo fam, can I take your shoe?
Yeah.
Then he's like, no, don't take it. No, don't take it. Listen, it's already taken now.
Yeah, or even if you have taken the shoe or about to take the shoe, and then he goes, no, you shouldn't have, and he's so adamant, like, why did you?
Then I can gauge it, and then I'll leave it, and I'll be like, it's alright, You know, so it's literally, forgiveness is easier than permission. So even when it comes to, and that's literally in most things in life. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, obviously I've used the example of like, actually I won't use that example here, but I was gonna be like, so obviously it's easier for somebody to cheat than it is for somebody to ask his girl for a pass and get forgiveness. But that's getting cut out. That's not gonna be in there. I'm really cutting it out. It's not this. It's too early.
It's not. This is not time.
Yeah, but so it is generally easier for you to, or it's not even generally easier. It is what it is. Forgiveness is easier than permission. Obviously, again, with all these things, apply wisdom. I'm not telling you to go, you know, move mad, rob a bank, and expect to be forgiven. No, there's some ones that you know
you're gonna end up in jail.
You end up in jail, and you know
you're gonna serve time. You end up in McDonald's.
You know, in McDonald's, funky. So
don't do that.
In terms of that, so I feel like we'll do one in the future about like relationships and stuff like that. Yeah. But just to kind of like, before we move away from the family dynamic one kind of thing and stuff like that, the one thing I want you to recognize when it comes to parents, which is something that people don't realize most times, and if you knew this earlier on, it can help you understand things a bit better.
What's that?
Your parents are just big children, fam. They're just big children. They don't know what, like, some of them don't know what they're doing. They're just doing the best they can with the best, with most of them having the best intentions in mind.
Best intentions.
You know, most of them. But they're just big children. Like, they you know.
You're throwing shade right now, but I caught it.
No, but I like to be honest in my assessment.
I caught it.
But like they're just big children, and so they're navigating the world somewhat as you are. So even though they try to present like they have all the answers or like they know what they're doing, they don't really do. And so that's the reason why sometimes when you try to like challenge them or change their ideas on it, they get a little bit insecure in it because they feel like they need to step up to the plate. They feel like they need to have all the answers. They feel like they need to be in control of everything. They feel like they need to tell you that they have the best idea for everything that's in your life and where you should go and all those kind of things, when it's not always the truth. So it's
the thing is, this is what I say about with the poor parents. They don't know everything. Time and experience are the best teachers.
Yeah.
So they have experience.
Yeah.
They have time, and that time has given them the chance to kind of like learn things that you yourself necessarily are not privy to. So don't ever dismiss.
No, that's me. I'm not saying don't dismiss.
Yeah.
I'm not saying dismiss.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that that was more leading to a point of forgive your parents.
Right.
Because a lot of people have a lot of resentment to their parents, either their mom or their dad, and or to both or to one of them, and without actually empathizing with what situation that this person finds themselves in. So we talk now like, oh my days, like if I'm in a relationship, blah blah blah, but we don't really know what they've gone through or what they've been through. You see from your perspective as a child, and so you judge them on a mantle of this is what a parent should be, or you look at this other person's family or see the other person's parent and you feel that this person's parent is perfect, which doesn't exist.
There's never a perfect. There's never ever. Listen. I'm telling you now. There's nowhere it is good. Do you know what I'm saying?
As in perfect doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And so just accept them as being big children, but forgive your parents. Literally, and if you're able to forgive your parents, your life will be easier because you are a reflection of your parents. So if you're not completely a reflection of your parents, but I mean in the sense of half and half of chromosomes came from came from me. That's a heart. But like you need to recognize, like, not that you're a reflection of your parents, because you are. If you look at any group of siblings, all of them are completely different. Yeah, they're all completely different. They're different from their parents. But what I mean by not that you're a reflection of your parents, but they're part of you, and in the sense of that relationship does matter to some extent and will affect you to some extent, whether you like it or not, whether you try to hide it or not. So reconciling that and accepting it and forgiving them for being who they were, whether they did the quote unquote shitty job or quote unquote good job or whatever, accept it for what it was.
Even for it helps for your own self as well. So it's like, what you like, you have to be positive thinking of it. So instead of playing the victim and going, oh, I was, I don't know, they didn't love me, they didn't show me they love me. And then it's like you have felt those feelings, and then when you're now in a position to be a parent to someone else, you now think, this is for people who are able to identify the self-evaluation and things like that. So you now say, okay, maybe when I was young, my parent didn't kind of allow me the freedom to express myself. Then you now take up the responsibility intentionally to allow your own kids to express themselves, because you don't want them to feel the same way you felt. Yeah. So I think that's ideally is the best way that we should approach it. Yeah, but that's not always the case.
It's not always the case, but I think and this is like the whole idea of this, that if you knew these things earlier, your life would be easier. And you need to understand that forgiveness is more for you than it is for the other person. Yeah. Like, it's literally more for you than it is for the other person. So some people hold grudges on their parents or don't forgive their parents because they feel like, why would I forgive him? Why would I forgive him?
They're out there doing their own thing.
They're living their life.
They're doing their own thing.
Do you know the funny thing, about people, when people hold grudges, Now, one of the few rap songs that I took a line from and I applied it to my life was Royce, Detroit vs. Everybody, Royce the 5'9", it was Eminem, all this thing, but Royce the 5'9" said, holding a grudge like letting somebody live in your head rent free. So for example, you have people who, let's say, maybe a parent, family member, friend, whatever, did something to them 5 years ago. Now, what's happened over these last 5 years, they can still blame that person of it. But to some extent, when you're holding a grudge, you are allowing this, not even that you're allowing the power of this person over you, but you've allowed yourself to be in this position to kind of not free yourself, because you don't want to forgive the person because you feel like forgiving them is too good of a thing, when you don't understand that forgiveness is literally for yourself.
I'm not gonna lie, I've intentionally tried to hold a grudge against someone. Like I just said, like I want to know what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, cause like I'm a very forgiving person, but sometimes I do like a bit of drama.
Yeah.
Like
Madness is real.
I have intentionally, I said let me just try it, but it was for a friend. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, it didn't feel nice. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. And I was like, I communicated that I don't care as well. I was like, you know what, it's too much on yourself, because even the person, like, they don't care. So why you?
Because you're just holding, like I say it like this, imagine you're going, life is a journey, man. You're going through life, and as you're going through life, you're picking up scars, you're picking up injuries, you're picking up luggage, bare shit on your back. And so it's like if I'm carrying bare stuff on my back, and there's like this little side pouch that I've got here, which is, I'm really tired.
Yeah, you won't even have time.
Why am I carrying this?
So because you're carrying that, the goodness that are coming, there's no space
for you to carry it. So if you release it,
you're preaching.
You know, once you remove it and release it, don't bring me into pastor mode here. Yeah, it's not. I'm not Kanye doing Sunday service. But once you release it, you free yourself, and that's the reason why for me, similar to yourself, I apply forgiveness into most of the things I do.
Yeah.
And it's more for myself than it is for the other person. Yeah. And it's partly for the other person, because I don't really want anybody walking around feeling, oh my God, he hasn't forgiven me, blah blah blah. Although for me, how I do qualify if I forgive you, my forgiveness for me is like, will I treat you the way
No, it's never gonna be the same.
It's never gonna be the same, because I'm not gonna lie to you. For me personally, I forgive but I don't forget.
Okay, so your forgiveness is conditional.
It's not conditional. My forgiveness is just, how should I say it? There's two levels to my forgiveness. I've forgiven you in the sense I don't hold a grudge, I don't have no problem. The reason why I say forgive but don't forget is because I feel like that's an unwise thing to do. Because
you make yourself vulnerable.
Not just that you make yourself vulnerable, but every mistake, every fail, everything that happens in your life, whether it's bad or good, comes to teach you something. So if you done something bad to me, or you did something to me that made me uncomfortable, I can forgive you, but there's no reason for me to forget it. My thing would be, okay, what can I learn from this so that this doesn't happen again?
Right.
So you know that whole fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on you, all that kind of stuff. It's like, if you did something to me, if I forget it, more times than not, it might happen again. Then I forget it.
I forget.
But true. But it's like, at least if I can remember what it was, if I can at least, I won't complete. I will forget it to some extent after a while, because I ain't never got time for it. Like my storage battery, I'd be forgetting. You know, you really be asking me what am I doing. Ask me what I'm doing in the next week. Don't ask me what I'm doing in 2 months' time. But yeah, it's just about my forgiveness is this. Like, I forgive you, but then the whole level. The forgiveness takes another level of cementing, based on the fact of, because I'll forgive you assuming that this won't happen again, but then it becomes harder to forgive you, or like I'll continually be forgiving you, but I'll be getting a little bit annoyed while I'm forgiving you a little bit, if the reason why I have to forgive you keeps on happening. So for me, it's again, it's like the reason to forgive and not forget. So if I was to forgive you, and you did something multiple times. If you've not changed what you've done, then at some point it's just gonna have to be like, I have to kind of just maybe
cut you off,
avoid you. You just see yourself less and less in my life, because it's like at some point it's just taking the piss. That's the reason why to forgive I forgive everybody. Like there's nobody I really have a grudge on. No, not really. There's people who annoy me, but that's not a grudge. It's just they just know what they're doing. But so yeah, I think forgiveness again for your parents, for yourself, for your relationships, all that kind of things, for your friends, and then
for your colleagues,
for yourself. Forgiving yourself is probably like one of the biggest things you can do in the name of self-love. You took a big side there. You good there, bro? Nah, because I remember. I used to be my own biggest critic. I am technically still my own biggest critic. But I used to persecute myself on a level that didn't even make sense. Like, and the thing is, I'm very reflective, but I'm less reflective now than I used to be, because at some point I was overbearing for myself. Like I was apologizing for people for stepping on their shoe. Like I was moving mad. Like, you know, it's like sometimes, my guy, chill. But like forgiving yourself is more important. In terms of self-love, it's the idea, one of my friends, where we were kind of rationalizing, is like, treat yourself as if you would treat your own best friend.
Yeah.
So what this you do, if you do something, easy forgiveness, I'm like, your family's okay, blah blah blah, learn from it. And so trying to apply that to yourself and give yourself comfort, because most times people are in their own heads doing X, Y, Z.
I completely agree. And why I did do that was because obviously I did take a big step recently, and just like looking back, I wish I did that earlier, way before. But it's like, I don't regret it. I don't regret waiting, but at the same time, it's like I could have really avoided a lot of things if I had done what I had to do earlier. So, which is why I don't. It's not persecuting myself. I'm just like, you could have done better. Yeah. You know, like, but it is what it is.
Look, you just learn from it. That's what you can do. Because this life, everyone has different journeys, and so it's taught you some stuff. And again, you know, like I say, I've probably said this to you multiple times, but like for me, I try to live my life with no regrets.
This big boy thinks if he dies today, he's fine. But which is the good way to live.
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't even write that down to put that here, but I live my life as if today's my last day. Yeah. Like tomorrow's not promised. Even though
which is scary, because you know.
Listen, there's only two things that are. What was it? What's that statement? There's only two things that are guaranteed: death and taxes. Those are the only two things that are guaranteed, and so that's one thing we all share. Is death and taxes. You're gonna or at least,
I mean, if you're over 16.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like let's be honest, the one thing that's guaranteed for everybody is death. We don't know how we're gonna go, and so I accept that. And why, you know, for me, these things it's very calm for me because I've accepted my own mortality, which is a bit morbid. We've really gone a morbid way, but in the sense of that, I don't like to live my life with regrets. I like to live my life as if today is my last day. And so for me, it's a case of which anything I'm trying to achieve or anything I'm trying to do, I try to live today as if it's my fullest. I try my best to give my 100% in whatever I do. And even if my 100%, even if it looks like 60% to you, that was my 100% for that day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if I'm tired right now, if I'm even in this conversation, I'm giving it 100% right now. That's all the 100%. Don't look at my 100%. Don't expect more. Yeah. But like, so I live my life as if today's my last day. And when you live it, when you understand that, listen, I could really go tomorrow. And I'm very okay about going tomorrow. But it's like, would I die that I've, you know, regretted at the time I had? I didn't know. It's like, it's about urgency. Death gives life meaning. Yes. So it's kind of like, people are living their life very scared of death. Yeah. And in turn, it's stopping them from living. That, you know, I don't know if did I tell you? Well, that I said like, I think it was Chelsea that I told, but I was saying like before I was like, what if I die today? What if I, you know, I did tell you, I don't know. I was like, what if I do die today? And I'm just like, what then am I gonna say? Yeah. And I'm just like, no, I have all these ideas. Yeah. I have all these plans. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. Energy. Yeah, but it's a case of like, because I'm like, fam, like, you're gonna be 25. Yeah. And nothing. You know? I'm like, well, you know, as you go older, you're getting older. Yeah. And you're more likely to die. Yeah. So, death, what did you say? Gives life meaning. Yeah. And to add to that, you know, for anyone who's watching this and stuff like that, and you might be feeling like, oh, well, this guy's saying he lived lives in the last day. You have to understand, you think you're going to have more time as time goes on. Yeah. You have less time. Yeah. So one of the reasons, even from early, those who know me, I was always doing a lot of things because I recognize, like, look, right now from primary school days, you're not gonna have as much free time in secondary school that you did in primary school. Yeah. You're not gonna have much free time in secondary school than you have in sixth form. Yeah. Likewise, you know, uni, cool. You might have a little bit more free time at like third year, but again, you don't technically have free time because the stress will come back 2 weeks before the deadline, and you realize you didn't have time. And so when you come to the working world, again, you have less time, and so the time when you have real time, you won't have the energy and capacity to do anything. And so, I know you had the capacity and you won't have the energy and capacity to do anything. So anything you're trying to do, don't waste time. Yeah. You know, it is, you know, when people who die, most people who die, most old people, they don't regret the stuff they did. They don't regret the mistakes they made.
Yeah.
Most of them regret the stuff they failed to do.
They didn't do.
So for our parents sometimes, or our older generation, and this is not to put them on the bus, but it's just a reflective of what some of us, our generation, could become. You see a lot of them is like, I could have been footballer.
Yeah.
I could have been Shakira. I
Wow.
could have been astronaut.
Mm.
I said, well, but basically they have dreams that they didn't fulfill. And at some point in time, I put this on my Instagram, and I remember some people replied to me, and I was like, look, majority of people have opportunity to go for what they love or go for their dreams at some point. And if you're lucky, you'll have it 1, 2, 3 times. Don't waste it, because at some point, you need to pay bills and you won't have the opportunity anymore.
Yeah.
And so if that's a sixth form, is that in uni, whatever, at some point you won't have the opportunity to go for what you quote unquote love. And just to throw another hopefully gem for you there, is that doing what you love is not always the correct answer. It's not always the correct answer. Everyone's like, do what you love, do what you love. No, it's not the smartest. Be wise about what you're doing. Sometimes you have to do stuff you don't like to facilitate a life that you can do the stuff you do like. Like if you're coming out of uni, look, when you come out of uni, again, these are all little nuggets we'll be thrown in there. If you're coming out of uni, you need to understand, yeah.
It's okay to do the primary job until you get the
Yeah, but even that, some people will be let's say applying for engineering. They're so strict that they want some specific engineering one. They want to do what they love from when they get out. No, my friend, it's easier for you that if you come out, just get a job, because let me tell you something, yeah. Your degree is just the key to open a door. After that, they don't care. It's based on experience. Yeah. And even if you have like 2 years of experience working in industry, like since I came out, even when I got my grad job, they didn't even check. They didn't even check my degree. Yeah. They didn't even check it. Like if I could have gotten a third,
because you've been there for time.
No, but I'm talking about when I started going on the grad scheme.
Yeah.
Like, you know how you say you get your grad scheme, you have to do. They didn't even check it.
How do you know they didn't check? Just because they didn't ask you, doesn't mean they didn't check.
No. Because it was like a couple months in that they now asked me.
So by the way, what did you get?
Oh yeah, man, 2-1.
No. I'm saying that's what they told you, like.
Oh yeah, like it was just randomly, but like it was. But what I mean is that now it's all about experience.
Yeah.
So it's not always do what you love. Doing what you love is not always the smartest thing for you to do. Sometimes you have to, and you have to understand. Yeah, like something I wrote down here is, money does matter. It just does, and so it matters because it facilitates.
It matters a lot.
If it matters a lot, and it matters because it facilitates the life you have now. Again, let's get this out from the jump. Money itself is not the root of all evil. The lack of money, even to be honest, for me, the lack of money or the love of money isn't necessarily the root of all evil.
Okay, what is it?
Money is just a tool. In the sense of that, money most times will just show you what a person reveals to you who a person could be. So, in the sense of that, you know, money can be used for good, it can be used for bad. All the charities that are helping people, 85% of their time they use this for fundraising to get money to help people. Similarly, the people who are doing money, who are using it for bad things, is using the same tool. It's like you can use a hammer to smash someone's head, but you can also use it to do a hammer to build a house. You get what I'm trying to say? So money is legitimately just a tool. And so I tell people, like, okay, your personal goals 9 times out of 10 are financial goals, because, and if you want to see how you use your money, if you watch how you use your money, it will tell you a lot about yourself.
Yeah. And
so it matters because, you know, when you're not paying for, like, your life you're living right now, somebody's paying for it. So it's easier, right? It's easy right now if you're not paying bills. To be like, oh, if money doesn't matter. Someone's paying it. It's either your mom, your auntie, you're the person you're living with, the student loan, which is government, taxpayers are paying for it. Somebody's flipping the bill at some point for it. And so it's just a function of life. Now, people who get money and now change up, it's not that they were ever, it's not necessarily that the money changed them, it's just that they were people who they couldn't hack this amount of money. And also there are people who couldn't hack the power that comes with it. It's more the power aspect. So you know how they say absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah. It's more like now you have all this power, and it's like, I don't know what I do with myself, and so some people go very change up on people, but simultaneously as well, the people around you also change up. So it's a you know, it's a bilateral thing. It's like, you know, the auntie who was never calling you, you now have money and now she's coming like, Chuka, you like, so how you doing? I'm your auntie now. That's when they remember you. So now you're looking at people and it's a two-way thing. So now it's not an easy thing to navigate, but money matters. So it's like when you're,
cash.
But like, but if you're pursuing money, again, it's one of those things why money doesn't really matter, in the sense of like, if you look at, it matters, but it doesn't matter in the way people pursue it to some extent.
I don't understand that.
Okay, so when you look at wealthy people, they pursue money not to get more money, but they pursue that to procure freedom, experiences, and assets. Like a house means something to them. The money in the bank doesn't really mean anything to them. People are chasing money for money sense. It's normally comes from a place of lack. They want more money and all that kind of stuff. And you can go into like money languages and how people associate with money, but money matters.
Money matters.
And so when they say do what you love, it's almost like this. You have to marry these things. Does what you love, doing what you love, match with what you're good at, and match with
your skill,
or paying you enough to live a decent life. You know what I mean? So people like, okay, for example, everybody has like a charitable kind of spirit, but a lot of them after a while when it's not paying the bills, they cut.
It's true.
So it's like these things are necessary for everybody's life. So doing what you love is not always. So
basically, you're saying, do what you have to do to get to where you want to be.
Sometimes you have to do what you don't like, or live a life in order to facilitate yourself to do what you love. But again, it's different aspects, because if you have kids now, it's going to be harder, if not near impossible, for you to get in the beginning years of them to get to a point where you want to do what you love, because now you have to understand your priority. I know people at work now who it maybe have been more financially better for them during the coronavirus layoffs to have taken like severance and taken off the payout, which would have been a couple grand, like almost 50, 60, 100 grand. But they're like, nah, my kids are still in school. I need a stable income coming in for the next couple of years. So I have to make that choice. I can't go and relax and retire because of this. And at some point it's out of your hands. But so you need to understand that you need to be able to, you might not be able to do what you love, but you will always have an opportunity, provided you recognize the opportunity. Because one thing about getting opportunities, people don't always recognize the opportunity and taking it. Let me riff through some of them, some important ones.
I hope you guys are enjoying this.
As in, we're talking a lot. Okay. This one jumps out.
What's that?
Happiness is a choice.
Yes, it is.
You have a choice if you want to be happy, and you have a choice if you don't want to be happy.
Do you know what? I've been in situations where your happiness provokes people.
Yes. My friend, my happiness was, and you like, go to this one. You were doing that to me. You were doing, yes. Because it's not every day be happy. Okay. It's not every day be happy.
There's a context to this thing.
Oh yeah. She's not like a
context.
Yeah. Within the context, but it was just like I was like, Ugo, it's not every day be humble.
No, wait, let me tell you what it is. Yeah. So, Ugo, like now you show that part. You definitely show the part like where you're like, I'm tired, like I'm frustrated. But at the beginning of our friendship, which is only a couple of months ago. At the beginning of our friendship, right? So we're going to always come with so much energy, like, and then obviously like seeing me like as a student. So I was like on my final year, I'm stressing. This boy's coming. Yo, what's up? I said, pipe it down, bring it down, like always. Which it was nice to see someone so kind of like so full of life. This is not me bigging you up, by the way, but someone that is so full of life. But I'm just like, don't you ever get angry? Like, obviously now you do get angry, and I see it, but it's just like
you've seen me annoyed more than you see me angry.
Yeah. Like, but it's just like he would just every day motivational speaking. Every day you got this. I'm just like, listen, brother, is it okay if I want to cry? Can I just cry?
It's okay to cry.
I know, but it's just like you were doing a lot.
But the thing is, I would still come and say it's okay to cry and stuff like that. But again, I get it. Like, I remember people being annoyed. So you know what you're saying about the happiness. I remember people being like, how do you smile? How are you smiling every day? Like,
I was worried.
Yeah. How are you smiling?
Like he used to be. I mean, he's still a happy person. Like, you still very much are. But it's just like every day he would come. You know when you used to do wake up when you're going to work, you like voice note, hello guys, I hope you're happy, I hope you're smiling, I hope you're this, I hope you're that.
This guy really put
I'm just like I hope you're this, and I'm just like, I listen to it, it's beautiful, it's nice. But then I was worried about you. I was like, at what point do you express the other side of your feelings? But you could, because you like, if people don't know you, they don't see that.
Yeah.
You know? But it's okay. I'm not saying you should go and start provoking and be upset. But I'm just saying people's happiness can be very provocative, because his happiness, it wasn't provocative to me. It wasn't provocative to me, as it was a negative provocation. I was most worried because I was just like, because it felt to me, it felt very performative.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So that's why I was just like, oh God, like, are you really okay?
So now knowing me, does it still feel performative?
No.
Okay.
No. That's just who you are. Like, the thing is, now, so because it was then, it was like, because it was a big group or whatever, so you always kind of like show your happy self and da. But because like now we are much closer, is that when you're frustrated or you're annoyed, you communicate that, you say it. But other people don't see it. Yeah. So other people still think that you're this bubbly, like he still is, but they don't get to see the other side of you. You know what I'm saying? So, hey her.
I mean, that's the thing. Like for me, again, it's one of those ones you choose. I choose to be happy.
Yeah.
So
it was a choice that was annoying.
I remember telling. I've told a couple of people, but for me, like, I remember saying this a couple of years ago. I told some of my friends, and they said this is just madness, like pure madness. But I used to wake up in the morning and smile, like kind of one of the first things I smile because I'm like, I'm alive.
Oh, that's really,
I'm alive.
That's really beautiful.
And I was smiling for alive. But even to take it to the point of like, sometimes by that other side, the truth of the matter is,
no one cares.
Yeah, that's literally what I was gonna say. That's literally what I was gonna say.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
not everyone cares, and so for you as an individual, you need to discern from. Obviously, we'll get to the advice part, but you need to discern from the people who actually care from the people who don't care. Some people just like to know that you have stress going on in your life, and that was
me at the initial stage.
Yeah,
because I was just like, your life.
Bad mind.
No, guys, it wasn't a bad mind situation.
I know.
I was worried for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, you don't understand how. I was like, how can somebody? Not that you didn't have problems. Again, it would just sound so performative. I was just like, what is this boy on? Like what kind of energy? Like, it was just what's it called? Aspire to respire people. Like, it wasn't realistic. Yeah. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, no, but that's the truth. Like,
I don't mean to drag you.
No, that would be dragging. No, but like, it's one of those ones for me. Like, I am generally a happy person, but it's more like I understood that time ago that, you know, happiness is a choice. Yeah. And for me, the moments I didn't feel happy, like I didn't understand.
You got silent.
I mean, to be honest, I don't really care about social media too tough. So, yeah. I mean, those who are close to me, somehow I'm like, I love you, man, if you're still talking to me, because it is one of them ones. Yeah. But it's like, you know, the truth of the matter is, for you out there, nobody cares. Or a lot of people don't care. Yeah. And even the people you think should care, a lot of them don't care. Yeah. And so one of the biggest things that you have to understand in your life is that no one will care about you or what you care about more than you. And if anybody cares about what you or what you want, or a goal you want to achieve for your life more than you, then there's a likelihood it's going to flop, because that's not sustainable. And so even when it comes to sharing like your issues and stuff like that, some people just want to know that there's negativity out there and there's a problem. And obviously everyone has problems, that's the truth. and you know, people who don't see me outside or that doesn't necessarily know what I'm doing anything about or not doing anything about. Again, I'm the kind of person who, I don't like staying in problems.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when you're coming and sharing out, and like that's the reason why you're probably never gonna see me. Unless you know, even if like you need to be able to control your emotions basically.
Yeah.
Because the only choice you have is how you react. So the reason why I don't necessarily get angry at a lot of things is because I make the choice not to react. I make the choice that is it worth my energy? Is it worth my time? All those kind of things. So in general, not a lot of people actually care. And the thing is, the people who will really care about what you're saying or what you're doing, to some extent, will naturally come close enough to you for you to trust them to divulge those things.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you should necessarily be sharing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, people like the truth of the matter is, yeah, if you do have a problem, one of the things I've learned in this life, I've learned to ask for help. You know, years before, I wouldn't ask for help. I wouldn't.
When did you learn that? I think I know where you learned it, but when did you learn it?
I think, shout out to Elizabeth. What's it called? I think it was, you know, it's one of those ones you kind of knew, but you don't really confirm it until you're in the situation. But I remember, like, I was going through some stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, the talk, innit?
Yeah, the talk. And I remember, like, and I think we'll get into the mandem thing in a second. But, like, yeah, I remember being in this situation, and I was going through stuff. And I remember, like, you know, as a guy as well, because, like, for me, it's really been, like, old soldier never dies. You know, for me as a kid already, I'd already been like, my family's a cross that I'm going to carry on my back, and that's fine. So if there's a problem, that's fine. If everybody's okay, that's fine. If I'm not okay, but everyone's okay, that's still fine. So I was carrying a lot of things.
Sacrificial.
Yeah, which is not the smartest thing again, because that's not a self-love thing. It's more self-hurt in that aspect. But so when you know, you kind of hold those things in, because especially you don't want to put stuff out there, all the kind of things, or you know, it's just like, you know, family, especially.
Yep. Basically, you see yourself as the person that have to be strong for everyone else around you, and
and then so essentially like that, and so then you kind of try to find, you know, it's hard because now you need to be able to trust someone enough for them to be in that situation for you. But I remember I could kind of remember she came to my room, uni. I think she was sitting on my bed. I was sitting like uni style accommodation. I was sitting on the desk, and then I was sharing what else she kind of gave me the space, and then this is my friend, by the way, and then she what's it called? I don't know. She let me speak. Somehow she got me speaking. Yeah. And the thing is, it was weird because as I was saying it, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit ashamed. Yeah. I was a little bit ashamed. Like
You were like, should I be saying this?
Yeah, like I was a little bit ashamed. Like I was sitting on the table. I was looking away. A little bit, and I was sharing this thing, and I remember she was just there, she listened, and it's more like she gave me this space to speak.
She wasn't being judgmental.
And then I think, you know, family, and then somebody just allowed you to just pour small. And then I remember at the end, like, what's it called? I remember she gave me a hug at the end, and I remember like being in the hug, you know. Part of me, I was like, I'm a big man, you know. But like after that, I felt really good.
You felt relieved.
I felt really good, and it was one of those ones where that's the reason why I tell people, like, even now, like, a problem shared is always a problem halved. And when you share your problems, it doesn't necessarily that person, because some people hit me with this, and that's a fair criticism. It's like, okay, if I tell this person, what would it do for me? Yeah. Like, this person can't solve my problem, but you have to understand that when you share your problems, it's always easier if you share the load. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to solve it. But they will make it easier for you. So
even because when you're saying something, you're processing it.
Yeah.
And keep going.
Yeah, no, that's what you're saying. You're processing it, and it's a little bit good to know that somebody else at least a little bit cares about what you're going through. Yeah. Because especially when you're in those moments anyway, the people you're expecting to care for you in that thing, it's already fumbled the bag. Yeah. So it's like, you know, everyone's gone through things where certain people, but again, when you reach those points, it's always about establishing trust. Yeah. You know, like for example, people will be like, guys don't share their emotions. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily true. Guys will share their emotions with people that they trust. Mm-hmm. So if the guy's not really sharing with you, he doesn't necessarily really trust you that much to share that, because the truth of the matter is, like, out here, a lot of people have seen things that they've shared being thrown back in their face. People have seen things that they've shared, it will end up in social media. There's people who do that. There's a few people that there's only a few people that I can use the word hate. I don't like using, like, she knows I'm very particular about my words. I don't like to like misspeak unless I'm in friends and I'm bantering. But like people who people won't share it because, again, like, there's people who have this toxic thing of like they want to know what you're going through purely just to feel like
they're
better, not just better than you, but they want to feel like, haha, I've got this information from him or from her, so I'm like his personal blah blah. So people have this toxic feeling to go and get that. So it's one of those ones where it's like, like, man them will share their feelings provided they trust you. But there's some people, for example, in the man them girl them situations, that there's some girls who are out here chasing this information because they want to feel more valued by knowing this, when it's like, chill.
That's what you thought when I was asking you questions, isn't it?
No, you're just nosy, fam. You're just nosy. I'm thinking, like, this girl's asking bare questions, but before she knows it, the conversation has changed. She doesn't even know what happened.
No, it's so true. But now I don't even have to ask. You just say it.
I'm not saying anything to you, but this girl thinks she knows anything.
No, I don't know. The thing is, I don't know anything. But Ugo has actually, he's more open than before.
Yeah, because we're friends now.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Only 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. So
3 months.
Yeah. So sharing, like, if you have a problem shared, share it.
Yeah.
But obviously apply wisdom with the way you express yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, positivity. The truth of the matter is, like you said, if you're happy, there's people who don't like that you're happy. In fact, there's people who are different. There's people who just like, you come into the office smiling and it's just like, why the F is this guy? Why every time you smile? Like, what is it? Like, but look, ultimately, again, when you make choices in this life,
it confuses your enemies.
It's not even about confusing your enemies. But whenever you make choices in this life, you have to recognize you're entitled to make your choice, but you're responsible for dealing with the consequences of your choices. So when you're navigating, some days there's a smirk on my face, teeth ain't shining. Some days it's smiling, but I try my best.
You're always smiling.
Yeah, because listen, it's a mirroring thing as well. Like, sometimes, I'll tell people something that people should understand as well as a good tip. Sometimes if you want to feel better about yourself, or just feel better in general, sometimes the easiest way to do that is just to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they stay in their way and it's like, I'm not feeling good. Sometimes just step out and then forget about your problem and go solve somebody else's problem.
Okay, can I put that in practice?
Go on. What am I supposed to? You about to tell me to solve a problem for you now? I'm not doing an essay for you, fam. This is what this is. I'm very much fine. I don't need to feel better about myself.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
I was gonna say, obviously, because you're out here making boss move and all of that, leveling up at that. Don't worry about your worry anymore.
I don't understand what you mean.
Support me financially.
I don't know who this person is. This guy out here looking for sugar daddy, fam. Listen, that's not me.
Seriously?
That's not me. Go find yourself your Derek Jackson.
Next question.
Oh, all right. So, okay, cool. Next one I'm gonna highlight is this.
I keep looking at my phone.
Yeah.
My phone is actually there. I keep one
People remember how you made them feel, not what you did.
Yeah.
So it's like I could say whatever I say to her, but if I make sure she left here feeling positive, she won't even remember that I maybe made fun of her or whatever, because I left her feeling positive. If that makes sense. She may still remember anyway, because she's just gonna come out and fight me for no reason. But
you say like you don't make fun of me every minute you get. Like,
why would I do that? Why would I do that?
He thrives in annoying me.
Listen, if I'm annoying you, then you're probably close to me. But yeah, so people remember how you made them feel, not what you did. So even after you've done something negative to somebody in terms of forgiveness, it's a point of call where they will probably still remember how you made them feel. So for example, it's like in a situation within a relationship, it's not necessarily like what you did that they're still remembering. It's just remembering how maybe you made them feel disrespected, or made them feel unsafe, or made them feel some type of way. And so that's the feeling that they're really holding on to, as opposed to the action of what you're doing. So if you might say something and it's like you made them feel very insecure, that's the feeling. It's not even about what you said, because what you said could have been whatever, but it's just how you made them feel. So whenever you're talking and you're interacting with people, be conscious about how you make people feel. So whenever you walk into a room, like, you need to understand that the impression you leave on there is how people are going to see you, and so how you make people feel when they're around you is typically what they will carry on from that conversation.
Also, like, if you do make someone feel that way, it's okay to take it up. Like, if they do ever communicate that, because a lot of the time is what people don't understand is intention behind things. So you yourself might not have intended to make them feel a certain way, or make them feel, be insecure about their insecurities or something, but that had happened, and you get the chance to understand that, okay, this happened. Like, take the criticism, apologize, as opposed to like, that was not what I intended, and then don't go for the defense, you know what I'm saying?
And to even add to that, people remember how you made them feel rather than what you said or what you did. On top of that, it is more important on how you do things than what you are doing in any walk in life. It's just like, it's more important, similar to how I said about the apology earlier on. It's more important, like, if you're gonna go talk to your parents, it's more important how you talk to your parents than what you're actually going to say. If you're
remember when you coached me?
Yeah. So listen, out here we do. We're doing our things with everybody.
It's not easy.
If you're in Tickzon scheme, the mentoring, everything, we help each other out.
Yeah.
But it's how you say things is more important than what you're saying, especially when you understand who you're communicating to.
Yeah.
So because it's about understanding how they're going to receive it. So
it's not so much about your intentions. Intentions are good.
Intentions are good, but your intentions are communicated to somebody else based on how you approach a certain thing. You get what I'm trying to say? So if my intention is to like, let's say to make you laugh, then the way I'll say it would be like, hey, how you doing today? I'll be in a giggly way. If I'm coming there to be like, foot down, boom, 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 I'll be monotone, I'll be serious, like I'm looking you straight in your face, I'm like, you're fam, like, I wasn't happy with what you did, and like, I don't know why I went low with that, but, but like, it's like, if I'm just like joking, you know how like you jokey past, like, listen, I mean, I know you didn't mean it, but like, how you do things is more important. So even when you start a business, whenever you're starting an endeavor, whenever you go for an idea,